可以上了，这个时候可以上了。狗回来，对，狗回来是对的。哎，狗回来呀，他你妈狗不回来吗？他有那么有自信，能够守得住吗？你他妈你狗回来呀，哥！这狗包的也不怎么，就包的协同也不怎么好。本来如果包好一点，早就吃完了。现在HeroMarine第二波兵过来，看看能不能顶得住啊！正面2逼了，说了，这就是说了，就很粗，你知道吗？就这种。本来是个完爆的局面，他你妈的毒爆先上去送掉，送完之后狗再到位，妈跟排队枪毙一样。哦，这一炮。这个妈就是很难守啊，这个很难守。虽然妈守住也是大伤。操作一下，哎，接走的话那就守住了，这口气接走就守住了。HeroMarine没多少农民了，只有46农民，只要守住这个局面就能打。Solar有58农民，而且攻防他是不落后的。不急啊，他在急什么呢？我都不明白。你毒爆就两个有什么好急？被人诸葛连弩吗？你就那么抖 M 吗？我靠！哦呦！他妈真的是好艰难啊！这毒爆别上了呀，又被人点，真的粗！你这搞得你自己现在都没有时间变毒爆，你根本就没有时间变毒爆，这波还是要被打死感觉。这矿不能掉，这3矿掉了就GG了。但感觉这矿还是要掉啊！最后一波狗毒爆在后面，妈这毒爆过来干嘛呢？输了，1比1。这盘完全说了自己的第一波包了个寂寞，一般都是后面狗先上来，然后在那边吃坦克的时候，毒爆再上来。不，这个不是河马打得好，而是妈的Solar打得太菜了。他换家换的意识非常不错，换完家你3矿农民一清，你第一时间就要回来把这个正面这波部队解决掉。The unstoppable force. Those were some clutch reinforcements coming in from the right at one point, because it did seem that Solar was getting a great fight, was finding some of these bailing connections, and we're like, Gabe, are we running out of steam? But then when he needed it the most, a few more Marines showed up. I love how he moved the remaining medevacs immediately towards the reinforcements, because they were softened up already, because they were stimming to the front. Great stop by HeroMarine. I think that's a build you bust out one time in his entire best of 5, and this was perhaps the map to do it. So they both won their home map. We're all tied up. Let's see what we are going to load into now. Obviously Solar should have the map choice, but from here on out, they should become a bit more fair.
Yeah, I think something like Hardwire would.
这把真的有点可惜啊。
I think first Hardwire. Okay. Pride Veto and then a Hardwire pick for Solar here. The cool thing about that build is that Solar might be a little bit more careful with droning up in the future, right? I mean, if Big Gabe is capable of playing this type of build, such an aggressive kind of fake third base build, in the future Solar either needs to scout more or needs to be more careful in the droning, but he needs to adapt to the possibility of this build coming back.
其实我是希望Solar快点赢，因为这个波5他肯定是能赢河马的。他的实力明显要比河马强，而且他还有一手换家，所以这个波5Solar是肯定赢的，只是希望他快点，不要你妈的再输了，我靠！除非河马使出绝技，你妈野兵营。你们信我，就2盘看下来，就明显就是Solar比河马强。
干嘛我宣布呀？说了这个波5赢定了呀！已经。
We have praised him time and time again. We even just said it on the analysis desk as well.
对啊，硬实力啊，硬实力是比河
He
马
can
强
take out anyone in a round robin or even in
没
the
错的呀。
GSL format groups, but it's often
对啊，河马就那个帽子啊，什么的那个战队。以前我记得他们队有魔兽项目的。星期我还找他们聊过呢，当时搁在 M5M， 他们想要挖我去。你妈了个鸡！但是最后我没去。他们想做星际分布的。M5M 好歹给我开350刀，你他妈就给我200刀，我怎么可能会去？我靠！妈的行情都不知道，对吧？你说你给我个500刀，那我妈我也就去了。
Yeah, it really is. I mean, a different quarterfinal is Maru versus Serral, and I think both players rather play against Solar or against HeroMarine than they would against Maru or Serral respectively. So it is interesting to see indeed for both of these players a very big opportunity to get to that semifinals, as HeroMarine this game did not open up with an SCV scout, switching it up a little bit, saying, all right, Solar, I see you're not going to pull first. Let's just save a little bit of money. Don't SCV scout and get a faster second guess. So far, every single game
那年结束了之后 ，M5M 就没跟我续签。妈的，看来我只值350刀啊，只值200刀，但不重要。我离开 M5M 之后，通过妈的运作又加入了反莱体克，妈同样是350刀，我靠。
As well, but Solar is an adventurous Zerg, and he's not afraid to run into well-protected areas with lurkers and banelings.
反正这个待了还挺久。
Eventually, it's gonna be okay because I'm a rich Zerg. I've got Hive. I've got all the upgrades. So perhaps HeroMarine feels that his best way to victory here is just to turtle it up hardcore. After whatever he decides to do in the early game is going to be a little bit aggressive, perhaps to just make it a bit more pleasant for him.
不怎么运作就很简单，就是首先，妈的，有一个叫 H 的那个哥们儿，妈的是妈的那个以前 MM 的这个就是就那种领队啊什么的，然后 MM 就他不是不签，他是不做星际1的这个分布了啊，这盘是大和啊。 他不做星际分布了，然后不做星际分布之后嘛，当时 M5M 不是要散伙了嘛？那散伙之后，这时候，对吧？就各种去找那种想做星际分布的战队，但没有星际分布的战队，然后这时候就找到了这个反莱体克还蛮有兴趣的，然后妈就跟他吹呀，妈个鸡，飞寒第一 Z 对吧？然后他妈再加上刘伯豪、Rush Go On 霸王枪接死大，妈的4个人，他妈中国星际4大天王，妈集体加入，对不对？妈1个月都不需要妈的1000刀，这个星际分布就成了。然后就妈就成了呀，就这样子呀。我知道你们会问我，你妈的其他的几个人的工资是多少？ 都没有我高，我告诉你。但具体多少我已经忘了，反正我记得有一个他妈200刀的，200刀那个是最低的，200刀150刀，我靠是最低的。估计不是你妈杰斯大，就是你妈豪哥。我已经忘了这件事情。 反正这个分布1个月的，就星际1的当时分布4个选手1个月的支出不到1000刀，反正。反莱体克的事情，大河直接飞啊！但是已经有反应了。Solar 的女王是不停的，你这种大河的这种战术，想要烧到 Solar， 相对来说还是挺难的。
I want to say no sport crawler in the natural, but that's wrong. The sport crawler was just kind of well hidden. HeroMarine is still finding some drone damage though, and that's not even that bad considering the fact that we've got 5, 6 Nice queens in position. Maybe this opens the door for the Hellions to find some success in the third, but that's not happening either. So good defense by Solar, but at least Gabe got something out of it.
Yeah, and I think the best thing here that happened for Gabe is the fact that Solar hasn't.
当时新机的这个，对新机的这个职业圈，就情况也不是很好嘛，但毕竟当时的这个魔兽比较火，好，直接来烧。感谢再见宋哈娜的一个飞机啊，这波其实狗包的还不错了。 真的狗包的不错的，9个农民啊，一共死了12个，你火车全送，然后大河也没烧到东西的情况下，其实这一波我认为 Sola 还是赚的。基地呢，基地感觉要强退啊，基地应该强退，他这点血量肯定能够把你基地号强退的。河马不是不喜欢投雷，而是他没有这个 条件，他怎么投雷开？他这个基本功是爆兵运营强，他用兵其实不是特别强。你让他又投雷，然后正面什么枪兵、生化部队还要去压制，这个压力很大的。这个压力。说到这边已经是慢慢转型成了刺车狗毒爆。说了现在不太用飞龙，不知道为什么。不，这不可能让人强推的呀！这种妈再强推的话，说了打都不用打了。去主矿有货吧，就这么回事了。接下来那一幕就是河马各种进攻，然后各种打不进去，投4颗隐形雷，但是这个投隐形雷其实隐不隐形都无所谓的，只是有个 VA 嘛。说来的每个矿都有防空的。不是啊，当时组反弹几个的时候，其实就是因为太便宜了。你们知道当时木拿多少钱吗？在卖 MM。那木当时拿的钱至少是我的20倍吧。我木也该拿这个钱，妈的，当时的确木他妈有点实力。哦，这个说了有点烦啦。操作好一点，有机会能够把说了打死，一波接死。哇，这操作啥呀？好不容易展出了一波兵力的优势，这个被他糟糕的操作毁了这一切。My goodness, I think Solo just dodged a massive bullet, because if he doesn't clean up that the way he does, this game could very well end in the near future. Yeah, these mines are going back in for another try. Once again, Solar not responding in time. A lot of workers are going to fall. 10 drones go down. 4 mines have taken out 25 workers total. And 这两波投雷其实投的赚了25农民，但正面的操作真的是太差了。这就是我跟你们说了，投雷不适合HeroMarine的原因，因为你又要投雷又要管正面，这个绝对不适合你，没有这个实力。现在就完全靠，按错了，这个是按错了。现在完全靠 Sola 的这个正面的基本功了。对啊，Sola 如果换成 Dark 打的话，那的确河马被 A 的妈妈都不认识，绝对是这样。 现在这局面，Solar 还是劣势，他还要再吃掉对方一波部队。但有了地雷之后，有地雷有坦克，有点难吃，而且自己的4矿也遭到了很大的一个威胁啊。4矿那边也是有一大坨兵在那边等，换家换的还行。这里妈的河马的操作，4矿威胁解除，安心打正面了。那这个正面随便打了。这个就是河马菜的地方，他是真的操作不了。他 TEP 强，真的就是因为神族的原因。你妈是神族弱，神族你妈给神族一个你妈福报，我告诉你，妈的河马立马现形。
Yeah, definitely. Kind of forgot about the lurker then though. The hive is already finished, but no lurker upgrades on the way yet. To be honest, there's not a lot of gas either to even get any lurkers or lurker upgrades currently. And Solar will be looking at a pretty scary 2 minutes. As he doesn't really have anything to deal with high mine counts. These upgrades are still going on for HeroMarine as well, soon to be 3-3.
河马送了几波之后，这局面完全已经扳回来了，飞色也有了。又是这个2个解放者架矿，加2线。河马这一波还是要稍微处理一下。还有个3线，可以啊，正面还在压。但是操作真的太烂了，操作。
As Gabe is still just sitting in a very pretty economy. It's the complete opposite of game 1, but this time around I feel HeroMarine barely lost any SCPs, but found a lot of drone damage.
现在终于守住，那现在要想办法把正面这波部队包掉。其实正面部队并没多少。
Yeah, HeroMarine still struggling in these fights a little bit, getting losing a lot of Marines to these banelings. Throws on a couple
正面的部队真的没多少。
Get that orbital count up and perhaps even take a 5th base. I love.
对军坦外面，我认为河马散兵还是来得及，因为军坦外面毕竟虫族的速度受限嘛，那还是有这个反应的空间的。在军团里面就算了，那这种他散，我觉得没有问题，对吧？知道散不了就走一下，也就走一下。好了，被打回来了，彻底被打回来了呀！我跟你们说的呀，就是河马占了优势也拿不下比赛，就说了就是比河马强，看了2盘就看出来了。
Seems like HeroMarine was pretty on top of splitting this one away from the rest of the pack though. But Solar definitely where he wants to be, and this is some of these TVZs I've seen in the past, or CVTs I should say, from Solar, where it kind of feels that he's under an immense amount of pressure, doesn't look that good, almost runs out of banelings, takes a lot of damage.
不是你凭什么上军坦嘛？妈的！
This man is able to flip the switch immediately.
真不把Solar当人呐！你凭啥上军坦？我就问你一句，是哥的兵不够多吗？你告诉我。
Do we have anything at home that can help us defend? 4 mines are there, no tanks though, and I mean ghosts are good.
The ghost on the left side actually getting surrounded by those.
好了，直接 A 你3矿了，3矿飞了已经。后面狗接上来 A 就行了，甚至不用用地刺。这种平地上说这个还是能够散的，这个没有问题。那退一步，就是要变地刺去了。变吧，继续变吧。地刺科技反正都升好了嘛，数买射程都升完了。
Well, off creep at least going his way. I love this little 8 Marine drop here. If we can cancel this base, that would be kind of nice. I believe that Solar is running out of minerals on the other bases. Quick pickup. And HeroMarine trying to establish some map dominance again as he moves out with his main army. That orbital command on the 5th though, that's going to be a weak spot in the future.
15 minutes of non-stop action, but I kind of feel that now we're both looking at each other like, let's slow it down for a split second. Solar wants to get
打河马其实地质真的不用多，因为你地质多了反而没用。河马鬼兵操作还行啊，鬼兵操作还行，你就搞个7、8个地刺差不多了，然后就刺者狗毒爆 A 过去。其实刺者狗毒爆是打这个鬼兵非常好的一个组合。
So he's gonna have to increase the ghost count slowly but steady. HeroMarine is
这是什么东西啊？
啊，
这是什么东西啊？他在打什么呀？这搜啦！你要破这个岩石吗？你妈的，你从外面破，你妈你跑到别人家里面去破岩石。
HeroMarine doesn't like playing too much. This Ling run by wouldn't have been an issue if there was a planetary here, but the command centers just were not available. A bunch of mules go down. A lot of the SCVs have to fight as well. This is not what they were built to do, and 12, well, yeah, 13, 14, 15.
妈的，你不用农民 A 的呀！你妈你那么多枪兵，你让他打枪兵就好了，又打不死啊！他们2个人妈卧龙凤雏。这波收了要包，他不包的话还有点难解决。你这种正面 F2A 真的未必 A 得过，坦克数量有点多。家里面虫洞，河马应该看不过来，以我对他的了解，因为他这个多线不行。好了，那虫洞进去，这个矿可以送给你，这个矿真可以送给你，对吧？下面那个矿对不起，你要拿没有那么容易。多点地刺进去啊！他妈的就3个地刺有什么用吗？你搞个10个地刺进去，对不对？换家，3个地不痛不痒的，你把这波狗绕进去都是回事啊！狗拆了多快啊！还有就是你正面你也要想办法包的呀。矿换了之后直接回来把正面包了，不就赢了吗？他还要去换。你他妈要 A 你就 A 呀，兄弟！我觉得河马如果操作好一点，真的操作好一点，就真的换家。这你妈的好想说了快点赢啊！因为这个比赛河马就真的赢不了，就算他这盘赢，他最后还是会输的，实力不够。
Those snipes, the ghost just going to down on those lurkers that were freshly morphed into main base. There aren't too many SCVs left on the HeroMarine side of the map. Only 17, and Orbito is gonna land in the center, just so we can throw down a scan. But I don't see a way for
战斗人口反而河马更高一点，河马主要有波鬼兵，这个局面不会被翻盘吧？下面有很多的坦克呀。6个坦克，这感觉打不过呀！这正面你妈要翻了，老子人都傻了，这种局面都能被翻。
Yeah, we did see the new spawning pool already being built. Production of Big Gabe is flying towards
its
army. There's still some orbital commands here. They cannot fall, as they are the only way to deal with lurkers. This is a big drop, because this base needs the larva. This base needs the mining as well. Oh, Solar, are you really giving this away?
And that's the Hydralist then as well. Even the Reapers, that accidental Reaper is gonna show up. HeroMarine gets on top of these drones too. They all get picked off. I like how he's killing the Sport Trawler before he's killing the hatchery, just to make sure that he doesn't have to deal with too many Broodlings. This hatch is going to fall. Solar potentially is going to try to build something up in the top left side, but he keeps on losing his production facilities. That's his last spawning pool, and that is one I think Solar really needs to keep alive.
上下这样包，只有这样才有机会，不然的话是没有机会。
Yeah, let's not forget that this is also still on creep. So if these Banelings get the connections that they have been getting so far this game, this could still be bad for HeroMarine. Lots of tanks to provide that splash damage. Solar moves in, no moves back again. One tank shot will hit. These drones get evacuated. There's another base here towards the top side.
下面已经没有军坦了。
Yep, I think those could very well be hatcheries. He needs production. He doesn't have any larvae anymore. He's
下面没
losing
军坦，
most of his
你
hatches
怎么
around
办？
the mech. HeroMarine is going to run out of scans though. Army supply, it's incredibly close. 81 against 78 in favor of the German Terran. Finds another base, finds another baneling nest. A few brave Marines on the right side are going to get on top of that final hatchery. Solar will be able to take care of that hit squad, but more drones are going to fall on the left side. Solar still has way more workers than HeroMarine though. But what is that all really good for? What is the Big Bang good for if you've got no larva?
Yeah, that is a bit of an issue. No way to get Vipers either without a hive. Another spawning pool is getting built. I think this is the fourth or the third spawning pool in this game. Tanks once again sieging for a great scan there. This is insane. I can't believe it. Slowly but surely, HeroMarine keeps pushing forward. We'll be able to take out this base as well, most likely. Solar doesn't even want to defend it.
There are 5 lurkers morphing now in the original natural of Solar, but that was the final hatch that was truly connected to any mineral patches whatsoever. We're now going to build 2 spawning pools at the same time.
你把他基地打飞啊！他没有基地，不就没有他妈雷达了吗？对不对嘛？把基地起飞就好了呀！你他妈多买点地阴的呀！这个局面其实黑了马运也很难搞的，他没有雷达，他怎么弄？
Such a big moment in this second quarter final here at the Intel Extreme Masters. We have one orbital landed, the scan goes down, a lurker falls, and every lurker is incredibly important for Solar. I think Solar is running out of steam. I just don't see how he fights this Terran army.
Yeah, too many tanks, too many ghosts. Every single time that HeroMarine spots these lurkers, they all go down because of the snipes. No way to run away for Solar, as Solar now tries to stop these orbital commands from landing, and then perhaps these lurkers that can give him some type of safety. Look at that in the main base. That orbital is an absolute baller. Covered in creep, doesn't care. Oh, this orbital, can he force everything to lift and then just burrow a bunch of links at different positions?
Yeah, but what are we going to do with burrowed links?
Well, force the orbital command not to land, and then with lurkers, well, there's no lurkers left. And there's no hydras left. Oh, no, I guess that plan won't work.
I've seen a lot of ways. Oh, buildings though. Now that is one thing that you can, of course, do.
What?
Wow, it's almost like Gabe just knows that this is a real possibility. Lands his orbital if he throws down a random scan. Are we going to use the burrowed banelings there? He throws down a scan on the bottom right side. Seems like HeroMarine is mostly worried about a mining base somewhere. We know that's not the case. What is that? A single tank in the medevac? I assume it is. It must be. Yes, it is. HeroMarine sieges up once more.
十面埋伏，但是妈的黑肉马运一个都没踩。别冲啊，兄弟，千万别冲啊！我感觉你这个样子要冲啊。
Yeah, you really can't as HeroMarine gets a pot shot there. A couple of links will fall. This orbital gets forced to lift though, and this one will actually burn down. That is one less orbital here for HeroMarine.
He could drop a mule and repair it, no?
Yeah, he could have.
冲了！
Mule!
完了！
Oh, 40 HP. HeroMarine will keep that orbital alive. It's a very close call, but every orbital matters. We've got queens on creep. Is this the moment where Solar says, enough is enough. This is my moment. I need to finally engage you. The tank spread is excellent. HeroMarine is good. All the HeroMarine really needs to do is save a couple of these.
居然冲下来了，你敢信？居然冲下来了！
Drops into the main base, his own old main base, and sees the 2 baneling nests. He knows that Solar has no money. Snipes on the banelings going down too.
There's 9 drones left. There's long distance mining going on right now as 2 more links are being produced. Snipes will take out this queen. There is no AoE on the side of HeroMarine anymore. Is this position completely closed off?
But there is also no
哇靠，这个位置卡的。
No, I don't think they can, and HeroMarine is aware of that too. But now he picks up one of the baneling nests. That orbital is flying. This is one of the silliest endings of a game.
先把下面这个打到运输机上面。
We could create a force field with barracks. We could create a wall off and just slowly
别人可
but
以
steady
走
snipe.
的呀，
As long as
兄
HeroMarine
弟。
doesn't lose any ghosts. This should
操作
be
一
his
船没有操作
game.
不来
Because
吗？
these units are
各种
untouchable.
吃亏，现在就
HeroMarine
各
can
种
do
吃
this all
亏
day. He can dance all day.
被人玩弄于股掌之
He
间。
definitely can. Orbital command finally goes down, but it won't matter. He is indeed making a bit of a wall with these barracks. All of these fights will most likely happen off creep. Oh, I love how he is doing this. Look at that. Even getting all these barracks down there. Ghost on the low ground. Will use the snipe. Bailey still down. Does need to pick up these ghosts though. HeroMarine, you need to be
这
careful.
你妈的，他上上现在在干嘛？
Instead starts targeting down these. Oh
好
my
了，
god.
人都傻了，这盘居然能翻
HeroMarine wins the impossible game. I can't believe what we're seeing here.
I've seen a lot of weird endings over the last 4 days, but this was probably the weirdest of them all.
这就是Solar 吗
in the main base using barracks to protect his final marines. Solar eventually said, "This is it. I've got to go for it." And he did take care of all the tanks, but he could not take care of those last few bio units.
这个他妈智力真太低了，老子妈我人都傻了。
HeroMarine had all the micro potential in the work there.
Solar 妈肯定很气，又一次在比赛中暴露了我的缺陷。
over and over again, and all that Solar could fully do towards the end was hope for a mistake. But let's not forget,
我说实话，他输了，输的还是有点不爽的。
We are going to throw it to a very quick commercial
不爽的
break,
一
and
批
after
输
that
了。
we'll be back with Game 4 between the German and the Korean. 哎呀！妈，这个点你们，我虽然我知道明天。 就不是明天，我脑子混乱了，是今天是周末，但是你们有点猛啊！这个点你们居然还能够有那么多人在，哎呀，不，我睡我肯定，我睡我不可能再起来了，我就告诉你，我绝对不可能。 妈，这种时候睡下去，怎么可能再起来？那杭州超人也不能起来了，好吗？感谢裘老先来我转不到多大的一个飞机，感谢兄弟啊！ 闹钟也不可能起来的，我就告诉你，就算我定了闹钟，我也会把它掐掉的，因为我现在睡的，我绝逼不可能起来的，我就告诉你。 Of the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice 2022, where HeroMarine is on the verge of making European StarCraft history. Because if he wins one more map, it'd be the first time ever that we have an all-European semi-final. Harstam, I don't know about you, but it almost feels like I'm watching a highlight reel of cool games in StarCraft 2.
对，现在波兰马晚上时间9点，哇靠，这个时间真的是爽的一逼。
This entire day has just been the weirdest day when it came to the games.
马已经坐满了呀，差不多。
I've never seen something like this before.
其实这种氛围还蛮好的，线下赛真的氛围蛮好。
That game was over. Gabe was already considering how quick he would type the GGs, and well, he stayed in and he freaking did it. I actually can't believe how well he played in that last game. The decision making in that game is so difficult, and it was some of the highest level stuff I've seen in a long time. Beautiful, beautiful StarCraft.
This man though, he needs to turn it around. Time and time again, he plays an absolutely amazing group stage, but it goes wrong in the playoffs. Let's hope he can turn it around. If you want to see this man make it into the semi-finals, make some noise for Solar.
你要么说了你就输吧，我靠，让四强有一个人组也挺好的。妈了个鸡！ 真的是，哎，2盘都是那种好局。 真的2盘都是好局，然后把自己送没了。
If HeroMarine does get it done though, I am looking forward to the next 300 streams where I'm pretty sure we're occasionally gonna hear that he did make it into the semi-finals, where he's gonna bring up one of these games whenever he has a cool move. It's like, yeah, that's kind of like what I did at IEM, where I made at least top 4, by the way. It's like, it's gonna be great. It would be phenomenal content for all of us, but I also hope that this man can turn it around and at least send it to a game 5, because he deserves it. Solar is such a likable guy. He's been around for so long. He's been one of the best players in Korea for basically forever at this point. And he's got such a few tournament victories. We know that he's capable of doing it. Solar is capable of beating literally any StarCraft 2 player on this planet. It's just that he often struggles showing the very best of himself in the playoffs. I don't know what's holding him back. I mean, Harstam, you're a professional player as well. Is there something different about playing in those playoffs? Are these nerfs still getting the best of you after all these years?
但我还是坚信 Solar 的实力，不 Solar 的硬实力在河马之上。我还是坚信这件事情。我认为这个波5 Solar 还是能赢。但是我们都很痛苦，兄弟们。
Performed very, very well there. I was kind of hoping to see him continue that streak. Of course, that is still completely possible. Interesting to note, though, is that we have Berlingrad here, and that Solar's last map, which was Hardwire, of course, a slightly Zerg-favored map, did go to HeroMarine, and well, that honestly puts him in a bit of a troubling position.
不是凭什么，就是我们就是看比赛的时候不能够以输赢定论，就是这河马赢的那2盘都该输，其实都该输。Solar 的细节就是太差了。这就是为什么我认为河马没有Solar强的原因。他2盘都该赢的呀，其实。
Yeah, the first 10 minutes were HeroMarine's party, honestly. The supply was constantly in his favor, and as you mentioned, he lost a couple to Marine. He's banelings on creep. Can happen to the best of us.
但是我现在希望他输。
That was an active tumor that he just shot down there. That's kind of nice. Of course, there is a second queen already, which can just throw down another creep tumor. But still, losing that isn't really supposed to happen when 2 queens are out already. As once again, we see HeroMarine kind of defaulting back to that triple CC opener here with that fast starport. Most likely on a small map, we'll see some Banshee play.
Could be a Hellion Raven. It's not something that HeroMarine shies away from. And maybe because this is a small map, he will feel that containing the creep is going to be very important.
这种时刻其实说实话看赛马没有太多的激情。靠着一瓶水，妈的，把我的精神吊在这里。没有这些水，我早就已经死了。说了你妈已经嘴巴都说干了已经。
Once again, Solar will move in. He'll see this Banshee with the cloak, and he'll most likely even see that Banshee pop out as well once more. Last time, let's not forget what Gabe did, though. The moment he got scouted, he cancelled that cloak, threw down 4 extra barracks and said, "Ta-da! I have an all-in for you, and good luck defending that." And Solar actually did not manage to do that. Berlingrad has a very similar rush distance to Curious Minds. There are a couple of nasty tank locations. It is possible that Gabe pulls out the same strategy, but knowing Gabe,
这个Solar运对就很好，速升2本，看到你女儿速升2本出飞龙，这把应该出飞龙。选手是没有时差的这种说法的，妈解说我们是有时差的说法，但选手没有。毕竟这2个人在卡托维兹已经至少待了4天了吧，3、4天有了吧。3、4天你还跟我说时差不行，那是肯定不可能的。
Yeah, for sure. Double Evo will go down as the Baneling Nest finishes simultaneously with the layer here. Centrifugal hooks will start momentarily. And once again, for I think the 4th time in a row, we're going into 5 gas for Solar. He's really keen on this opener. He loves playing Hydra Link Bane, and he loves sticking with Hydra Link Bane for a lot longer than most of the other Zergs. That kind of, you know, they see the Lurker as the end goal, but for Solar, it tends to be more about the destination, or about the journey.
I kind of feel that the Banshee should be able to get an easy cancel on that hatchery in the bottom side.
直接切进来，火车女妖，她这个隐形引的也太早了。这个切2个农民之后，可以把4矿切掉，稍微切一下，找机会把4矿切掉。他看到4级，好了，算了呀，没有这个操作，对不对？就去把4矿切掉，这边火车给压力。 2个女妖还是有输出的，4矿应该掉了。眼虫来，哎呦，眼虫来的时间还行还行，4矿只要不掉，我觉得Solar就还打得还可以，就这里面都能打。4矿掉的话，对Solar来说就有点难受了，因为这4矿快好了。2传兵。 其实火车应该去跟2传兵一起接应一下，毕竟你2传兵待会投下去，你面对的肯定是无数的小狗。你如果有火车的话，算了，妈毒爆那么多，这个4矿掉不了。走呀！
even grabs a couple of these Marines.
Yeah, that was a very solid defense. Oh, is this an 8 Rex out of HeroMarine here? No 4 CC, we already have 5 barracks. I saw 3 more on the way. Yes, we're going into an 8 Rex here. These barracks most likely will not get any reactor or tech lab. Will just be producing pure Marines. As HeroMarine will try to for some type of tanks and an absolute crap ton of Marines. In that case, the only thing that truly matters is that these rocks don't go down to mark.
正面那么多的部队出门，Solar可能会去换你3矿都说不定哦。Solar 妈是个很喜欢换家的男人。 这是他打星际争霸这个游戏以来唯一几个有智力的一个选择。先滚掉，6点钟矿应该守住问题也不是很大。强点，哎，有机会能点掉哟。哎，为什么不坚持一下呢？又没有毒爆，我觉得应该能够点掉，就90几滴血，你在下面再打2秒钟就点掉了。
With 83 workers, I don't think he necessarily needs 5 yet. So even if he would lose it, it's not going to be the end of the world. I think Solar is kind of
真的应该点掉。你看这些兵，其实血量还可以。
Barracks are here. I don't think he's scouted the insane marine count either, and HeroMarine is going to hit really hard, really soon.
This could be the career-defining moment. This could be what HeroMarine has been waiting for all these years. This would definitely be the biggest accomplishment from his career.
哦哟，好了，可以，Solar可以换家了。这个看到你出门了。
We saw how happy he was early today by making it into the quarterfinals. HeroMarine in the semifinals. He's
这种坦克架开，你对面冲不了啊！这么小的路口。 只有换家才能解决。这冲这个路口，他妈搞笑了！你知道闪一闪上下包对吧？那也是个回事儿。 要包，他不换家了，要包。这位置已经架得很深了。说了，这个 F2选手，我靠，他为什么就不能像 Zero 这种3面包抄或者2面包抄呢？各种在吃亏。等2攻2防嘛，其实也可以等等。被你们炸惨了，还是可以包啊！这个部队还是可以。 包啊！包了！看河马操作，这怎么又到这个小路口来了呀？他。有大路不走，他一定要他妈的走小路。他明显就 F2包，他不是编队包的。完了呀，被捅穿了呀！这也是好事，我靠！HeroMarine加油！ 黑人马林是真散不来，关键时刻，刚才如果能够有也行吧，也行吧。刚才如果能够散一散，这个比赛就已经结束了。所以他现在第一次拖出来，把下面的2边矿如果能打掉的话，也赢了，也赢了。第四没2个呀，就2个第四，搞得跟真的一样。
One Baneling will connect with the tank as the lurkers will start working on that tank as well. The supplies look even, but the army supply is in favor of HeroMarine as 2 more liberators will set up over here.
兵一直在续啊，一直在续，基地蹭掉，蹭掉之后再把6点钟方向的基地蹭掉。他强打也行吧，反正基地是肯定掉，但是这个扎针扎的有点过头了，扎针扎有点过头了。其实这2波。其实 HeroMarine 这个就处理的不是很好，处理的好一点，刚才应该是正面能顶得住的。对于 HeroMarine 来说，胜利就在眼前。
Never did start at +3 attack as he's also on 74 workers, which is relatively high, so he has a good eco behind this. Solar cannot give up any of these bases. More tanks are moving forward. HeroMarine smells blood in the water as he slowly
真的胜利就在眼前。
There's a single lurker.
他只要操作出一波比较好的一波，躲几个毒爆或者点几个毒爆，他就赢了。所以他现在就想要拖。如果HeroMarine现在还有闲工夫，能够抽个1船兵或者2船兵去打6点的分矿。有飞蛇，黑人马也很小心飞蛇，他一直在看你的飞蛇什么时候过来拉我的这个解放者或者拉我的坦克，他一直在看。这个坦克架的不深啊，不深的话你打不到第一次，他就没有必要说很紧急的拉，找机会拉就好了。
Of course, there's still a possibility that he can kill his opponent with this push, but should already be thinking of the future. Solar is setting up a bit of a run by. It will be able to take out a couple of these SCVs as some abducts
家里
do
面
go
守
down.
住了，正面直接干拉，拉不动。我真感觉 HeroMarine 要被打回来啊！Solar 你妈稳住了。这个6点钟矿真的1船兵稍微摸一下就结束了。
going to get anything done. That hatchery, by the way, the bottom side of the map, 6 o'clock, is still very low. And it's been very low for a long time. Solar did manage to re-establish the triangle, though, as HeroMarine throws down another scan, picks up the creep tumors. But the lurker count is a lot healthier.
HeroMarine 现在的打法，他不打算用，因为这个图可能比较小的原因，他已经不打算用鬼兵，他就是3vf 在爆坦克。好，点掉一个飞蛇，这很关键啊！这个飞蛇点的非常重要。走，你来。哥，你们坦克那么多，你来，就等着你冲。
A lot of links went down there, but a few Marines did fall too. This is a nail-biter once more between these two. A super important, arguably the most important game of HeroMarine's career.
就等着你冲，我靠！你没飞蛇他就不怕，他坦克他妈打你第一次也是随便打的。关键毒啊，这个坦克那么多坦克。
There is only Marines with it, no ghosts, no mines. But I think these tanks are just going to be enough. There is only vehicle plating level 1, no vehicle weapons.
再往前架，Solar 要冲了，Solar 已经忍不住了，忍不住心中的欲火。妈，这波都不冲，但你这个位置冲也不是很好展开啊。要冲了，不冲吗？哇靠，这种都能忍得住啊！你妈的，不愧是忍者啊！
If there is one unit here that's gonna make the comeback possible, it has to be the Viper. Abduct after abduct almost feels like the only play here.
Yeah, it definitely does. More tanks arriving to the front lines as they will start sieging this base.
你飞蛇呢？说了，你飞蛇呢？飞蛇他妈还没能量的啊！有能量，原来3个。雾呀！爆坦克就是被飞蛇克的呀，没用的呀。你妈不会这种都翻了吧？你拉过来你也 拉过来怎么样呢？这被坦克轰惨了，但人口说了慢慢已经反超了。不是河马的理解是这张地图比较近，坦克比较有用，但你不出鬼兵，你用坦克打这个打这个第4的话，还是很有压力。主要有飞蛇，没有飞蛇倒无所谓，你随便打。有飞蛇就很难说了，他3个飞蛇对吧？吸满能量，能够各种物。你早点就可以投了呀！你妈个鸡一直在打正面，投都不投。
But perhaps he just needed every single mineral and gas that he could get his hands on for those lurkers. But both of them truly leaving it.
说老实，刚才那几波都顶得非常的艰难。正面推的同时，侧面有1船或者2船兵去打分矿，这就是现在HeroMarine要做的事情。你妈的，河马如果不做这件事情的话，真的有可能被翻。
Now he believes that the Nidus network could prove to be helpful, just like it was in game number 1 on Glittering Ashes. A lot of links are in production. The lurker count is very high. The base is still so low, Roddy. At any point, if 8 Marines drop and get 2 seconds, that base is gone.
Yep, it almost feels worth it for Gabe to show his entire army on the right side and just try to sneak a couple of Marines. They could even skim through the center. Here comes it. Obviously, it wouldn't be the first time Solar created. He wins an impossible game.
这边 Solar 是虫洞第1次打算进家，但是被河马看到了。这个虫洞应该没有任何的悬念，应该是能守住。他虫洞了。妈的，这种虫洞如果进去的话，人都傻了。
Tank production continues. What's the tank count currently at?
It's high.
16. No vehicle.
他不转鬼兵，这个就很尴尬。你强行用坦克来搞的话，那就好比你现在有10个坦克，他3个飞蛇先拉你6个坦克，对吧？你还有4个坦克，他往后面一缩，然后回去再吸波能量，再过来捂你或者拉你，你的坦克就没用了。坦克一点用都没有，在飞蛇第4情况下。瞎了。拉呀坦克，你就拉过来就好了呀。搞得跟真的拉呀。这话只能放，没办法，因为飞车能量用完了，他没有第一时间拉，他应该第一时间拉完之后，然后第一次再往后退，然后再去吸能量。妈人都傻了，我被这种搞到。你纯的枪兵怎么打得过第4呢？打过，但损失很大，损失非常的大。这2个人他妈的打得惊天地泣鬼神。
I think he really thought
拉呀，看到坦克就拉。
multiple times, but Solar is one of the best Zergs in the world for a reason, and he's dragging this game out somehow, by the way, that eBay survived, so there might still be a chance for +3 on those bio units, but I don't know if that's gonna keep you safe against those spiky boys.
Oh, Nidus network here on the right side, big link run by his own with the green glance. They're going to absolutely rip.
河马估计刚才打到Solar这个4矿打掉的时候，还在想妈的我这次要用什么庆祝动作了。
He still has a command center somewhere on that left side as well, which he can eventually
我是真没想到这盘
as
都
more
能翻。
Nidus networks start going down, but the income is heavily shifting into Solar's favor here, and HeroMarine is on a timer for for the first time in this game.
Yep, and it feels that he just hasn't been able to find any economic damage himself in the longest time. While Solar doesn't have the craziest map vision. There's a lot of creep in the center, but I feel like on the outskirts there was potential for some of these drops or liberators. Perhaps we are lacking gas, so
这种局面，除非是Solar 自己犯二冲一波，冲你坦克阵。他如果冷静，就你坦克来多少，我拉多少，他就是稳赢版，他就没有输的可能。
I love these Vikings being added on, by the way, kind of trying to zone out the Vipers, either forcing a duct on the Vikings, or just, well, forcing transfuses on the Queens.
Viper will most likely go
down. Tanks are getting abducted into this position, though, and Gabe is losing
a
lot of important mechanical units.
Yeah, but Solar doesn't have the Viper count that he needs. Like you mentioned this earlier, well, how is HeroMarine going to deal with 8+ Vipers? Well, he's not with his current army, but as long as Solar keeps
拉呀，他在干嘛？拉呀！
and he still just has those 3
不是有满能量的飞神吗？拉呀！你别冲啊，兄弟，你千万别冲啊！这种坦克拉呀，他到底在想什么东西啊？他拉呀！
One lurker on the other side of the map, wreaking a little bit of havoc. This base will need to be given up here by Solar. Finally, it will fall. A lot of these Medevac still have energy. Gabe keeps pushing forward. Tank count still very high. 2 tanks being produced at a time. Extra Vipers are a necessity at this point.
他看到脑一群冲，他居然是冲！算也算冲下来了，也算冲下来了，但真的也很脑一群，也算冲下来，也算冲下来了，但这个冲绝对是不理智的，应该是慢慢拉，一个个拉。 赢了，冲也赢了。不，正常人都不会冲，正常人会拉。你先拉完第一波，然后后面是能量，第一次往后退一波，然后他坦克再加一步的时候，你又可以拉第二次。
That was it. That was the last-ditch effort, the absolute Hail Mary play, the last army that Solar was going to produce.
我的打法不是怂，是最合理的这种方式是最合理解决坦克的打法。5点了，算了，妈的，老子点早饭了，妈了个鸡！看看早上有什么吃的。 不，我现在走不了，我现在肯定走不了。你妈的，频道里面还有那么多兄弟，我靠，都想看赛马，我肯定会播完的，你们放心好了，播完把赛马播了，你放心。7点8点都会播完，好不好？播了赛马，我他妈心中也没有念想了。
And he holds, and he keeps holding. Low Viper count, no problem. Low eco, no problem. A hatchery that is on 100 HP for 15 minutes straight, no problem. Solar can do it, and we'll be heading into a game number 5.
20 tanks at the end of the game on the high ground. Apparently no problem either. That was truly it for Solar. He just felt that this was his moment. Maybe thought there wasn't enough firepower when it comes to the Marines to protect those tanks from the Lynx getting on top of them, the Lurkers just getting on top of them. The tanks obviously will always deal some friendly fire too.
跟大家告别的，不是告别，是跟大家说再见的。 告别个毛！人已经傻了，已经。
But none of that matters. Pressure obviously getting to both these players. Insane game though by this man. Insane to stay alive. Insane to keep his dreams alive of moving into the semi-finals of the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice.
好了啊，最后一场。
Fighting for Kaisi Gaming. This is Solar.
不，我今天我吃完早饭我再去睡吧。今天我肯定要吃早饭，我现在很饿，这种又冷又饿那种感觉。然后你妈这个水都是冰凉的，妈了个鸡！
Talking about a shift of momentum though, when you're this close, when you can almost taste the semifinals, when you're ready to pop out of that seat and talk to Smix on stage and have the massive smile on your face.
这场 TVZ 其实打得很激烈，但是双方的对于这种兵种的处理方式，包括对局势的处理方式，其实不是对的。 就不对处理
like an absolute warrior, a trooper, and displayed fighting spirit that I've rarely seen before. But hey, if there is ever a moment to fight till the bitter end and to stay calm and make the best of every single little scenario that you can find, it obviously is the World Championships. Insane performance by Solar.
Yeah, it's crazy. And here on the final map, 2K Atmosphere, a map with a lot of potential. But to be fair, these guys show that every map apparently has a lot of potential to create some epic games, some long games, some extremely close games. As once again, HeroMarine
感谢球奶荷兰买房失败的飞机。你妈的，在荷兰买房为什么会失败吗？你在钱到位，买房都不是难事。唯一能让你买房失败的就是你妈钱没到位。
Yeah, and I can't blame him for not putting it all on the line with a single roach rush. Because imagine if HeroMarine does scout, if he does counter your build order, suddenly you're throwing away one of the biggest opportunities of your career on a build order loss. And Solar's confident. This is the map where I've seen him have some success with Lurk as against Maru as well. The base that he's basically taking now on the other side of the map. It doesn't matter under how much pressure Solar is. If he ever gets up to 10 lurkers, he will just run them in there, and he always gets on top of that base, gets on top of the SCVs, and often that just opens the path to the natural, to the main base. I've seen him do it time and time again.
今天居然到最后居然打得那么的激烈，这是让大家没有想到的。今天。
Yeah, definitely is. HeroMarine once again with that fast third command center. I think that's the 4th time this series that we see that. The build he feels the most comfortable with. It's the build he feels at home with. We'll see what he'll follow up with. This Reaper is trying to poke and prod, trying to get a creep tumor here and there. Make sure that these queens don't get too ballsy moving forward. Spots the third base, making
赛马，我就告诉你们，你们就预留大概2个小时时间。这个波舞。首先，这个波舞不可能0-3的，这首先第一点。第二点，这个波舞是就至少是一个，就是至少是一个3盘到4盘的一个超大后期。
These marine drops out quickly to try and deny a fourth base. And the one thing that has been pretty consistent in HeroMarine's play is trying to stim forward towards that fourth base and just going straight away for that cancel. He wants to get it. If it doesn't work out, he'll just pick up, drop them, heal up, and try another time. But that's been something that Solar did need to deal with. And on 2K Atmospheres,
然后中间他们还要催逼。
I think going back at that previous game, I know it feels like a long time ago and so many crazy fights happened, but if those Banshees would have just settled initially for cancelling the fourth, that's
对的，1天8个波。
播
完今天，
播
完现在，播完现在，明天就今天就轻松了，今天就轻松一点。
That's not quite going to happen. Reaper gets picked off too. Still a bit of lost mining time and 3 drones though. Not too shabby for HeroMarine.
你们不从主办方的角度来说，1天8个波舞是没有问题的，因为它是从中午12点开始。中午12点开始，他打8个波舞，大概所有的时间加起来，他打到晚上的就他们凌晨12点，那就打12个钟头。对于他们来说，对吧？那他们中午开始打到凌晨，这个无所谓，而且他们的解说很多，他们解说大概有个5-6组，一个就算4组解说，大概每组就解说2个波舞就结束了。而且白天和晚上的状态，你白天和凌晨的状态是完全不一样的。明天就3场，2个波舞，1个波7，所以说明天不是明天，是今天。我智力有点低，现在。这个又是一个3基地2强兵的开局，就压你4块。河马操作上有点怂啊，刚才其实可以再稍微耗一耗。Solar 的这个Solar 的这个毒爆一直没有变出来，变得很慢。
as Solar. Layer's about to finish up, and then we'll see the centrifugal hook starting, obviously. As HeroMarine is being rather patient, a little bit conservative with this Marine squad. Just wants to heal it up, and once Medevac 3 and 4 pop out, perhaps we'll see a similar push as we saw on Glittering Ashes with these tanks joining up as well. Does need to be careful for Ling Rambais though.
Do we still have any Hellions? Because he uses Hellions in a pretty cute way, and we still have those 2 Hellions, so those could always morph into Hellbats down the line.
好，尽量清一下军团，把索拉5矿都开了，打得非常的狂野。这盘他的这个 ZVT 其实很好针对，你们发现没？他的5盘的战术就只有一个。 就开始是攻防狗，然后转刺刺，他永远都只有这个战术，然后3本跳地刺。他的这个 ZVT 真的很好针对。
I think he's going to be really happy with the drone count that he just spotted on that fort base, by the way. Only 74 workers, 7 minutes in the game.
没有，他毒爆为什么没有升嘛？这是什么东西？他迷茫了吗？他说他没有2本，不可能没2本的吧？这个是7分半没2本，他在干嘛？他在打什么啊？他在？我你妈人都傻了！我靠！这他妈这！现在才发现自己毒爆速度没升，妈坦克已经压在门口了，这波只能包。 要包得很好，才有机会能够把这波部队包掉。说，就让马运看这波包抄怎么样。毒爆还好，妈的，黑肉马运这个操作有点烂。黑肉马运这波有个很大的失误啊，他如果能够再就是在这个地方，他不坦克在这个地方，如果能够站一个兵在瞭望塔上的话，他就能知道你什么时候包上来。但他没有做这个细节，所以他不知道你的兵什么时候包上，你从后面的部队什么时候包上来。但黑肉马运还是优势。
point for Solar, and Bailing Speed is now going to finish up. He did fire up the hive during all of that, but he really has put himself in a position where he needs to make another comeback, because at this point, this game is not looking all that fly for Solar.
终于是把自己的毒爆速度混出来了，并且2攻2防也快提好了，3本也提好，第4塔也在造。 一切正在往好的方向走。
That will give him some breathing room as his hive and his lurker then are also on the way. And once those seismic spines finishes, we know that HeroMarine is the biggest fan of it, and we know that Solar is absolutely brilliant. It's never going down, Kev.
Nope, no cancel on that one either. So that's 350 minerals.
就限制住你的矿，你就只有4边矿可以采。就在这个时间点，河马应该是把4矿先开起来，而且慢慢要转补兵，这个才是打第4的办法。但很明显，河马到现在为止并没有这么做。 他这样打他，我感觉他要断送大好局势。那么好的一个局面。
Solar now trying to break this position. Finally wants to grab that 5th base. Will clear up both of the tanks, and that means that these Marines should not be capable of forever denying that right side base. If a big force here, this could almost be a snipe. Perhaps there's no mines with this army though. That means that Marauders can tank a lot of these bases.
还可以，这光头挤住了，而且毒爆也不是特别多。河马能不能通过这一波爆发？因为他的这个人口非常高，通过这波爆发直接把索拉按死，把这边矿给直接打下来。真的不操作，全靠内力在打，那打 大毒爆。真的是全靠内力在打毒爆。这两船兵还是非常有威胁的。好，正面，哎，正面，妈的，这毒爆近身了。这个，哇，伤。
Yeah, fifth base finishing up as Solar's fourth hatchery needs to restart over here. 7 lurkers on the way, adaptive talents halfway done. Seismic Spines has already finished, but HeroMarine is not going to wait for those lurkers to finish morphing. He is pushing forward. There's loads of medevac.
Oh,
what was that shot from
第四难
downtown
变
this
出来，
with
这一
a
波
mine? Oh my god, Banelings will connect with a
第
large
四
part
变
of
出来，
the
其实你要在上就没有什么机会。这两船兵真的是立功了，真立功，这个是。卡位置，卡了就走。科技上呢，现在 Solar 是优势，但是 Solar 经济上劣势。现在就3片矿在踩。
Solar, can you do it again? As a Viper flies over a couple of Marines, HeroMarine did notice it, is not able to pick it off. I mean, he's hard stuck on 3 bases, a 3-base Zerg. It's a disaster for Solar. There is no other way to put it, but there is always some hope. If you give the men Lurkers and Vipers, there is a chance, but it starts by securing that base at 9 o'clock. That is close to finishing up.
反正现在Solar打得很紧，因为他根本就没有这个经济来腾出手来升3攻3防。
But I guess desperate times call for desperate measures.
HeroMarine这盘真的是大牛，到现在为止还是大牛。只要把握住一次机会，而且鬼兵现在也在出3攻3防之后把握住一次机会，就能够把这个局面直接拿下，就已经不是优势的问题，是胜势的问题了。
Same with the Vipers, EMPs. Oh, this is an interesting fight though. HeroMarine not quite controlling that as well. Not the end of the world as he will be able to retain some type of map presence on that right side.
军团是被清了很多啊，Solar 应该输了，Solar 应该输了。这盘HeroMarine并没有爆坦克啊，鬼兵来了，鬼兵。干拉肯定不行，稍微等等，再投。他妈多线其实打得还不错，但是你这个看到毒爆你就要走了呀。哦，这对吧？利用自己这个多线啊，继续的 build。哇，又一颗雷，夺命追魂！我靠！妈的，Solar老是中你妈血滴子，赢了，HeroMarine赢了。这是他最后一波第一次了，第一次没了就结束了。还有个人质进4强也挺好，真挺好。不然的话，妈都是这一点意思都没有。那每一盘都是大可打那个雷诺，妈人都打傻了。虫洞也没用啊，你虫洞又怎么样？你又没有第4能够出来，直接干拉你了，完了，要打出机器了，是吧？虽然HeroMarine的这个操作啊有很大的问题，很大的瑕疵，但是他还是赢了，直进，就是这种感觉，这就是电子竞技获胜的时候的这种感觉，兴奋的一逼。但是当你握完手之后，你又会在想，握完手之后去台下，你又会想4进2要怎么打？这就是电子竞技，此时此刻他会觉得自己是无敌的。
Placing himself in the semi-finals. Beautiful TVZ play today, Rotterdam.
And for the first time in the history of the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice, we've got an all-European semi-final. It will be Raynor going up against HeroMarine. We could even call it an all-Italian semi-final, as HeroMarine
不，河马已经进4强了，不是进8强。我们来听一下河马的采访啊，兄弟们，我稍微休息一下，躺一会儿。
as he is on stage, joined by Smix.
the biggest man indeed, especially with a victory like that. Congratulations, HeroMarine. You are moving to the semifinals, and you've been to the top 4 before in multiple WCS events, but never at an event of this global scale. What is going through your head right now?
It's definitely Monday today, I think. Especially in that last game, I was able to play my best game. Yeah, I mean, before, I don't think I've ever played that well, so I'm very happy that yeah, I was able to bring my best level in this tournament so far.
I think that's one simple way to put it. As we were watching in the green room, we were saying, wow, HeroMarine in his final form is absolutely terrifying in TVZ. I need to ask about the map on Hardwire, because that turned into such a wild game. You were sort of forced into an all-in, and then it turned into a base race situation. Were you sure that you were going to be able to pull out the win at the very end?
Yeah, my plan in the series was to create a mess, especially on the Terran favored maps, like or rather like the maps that I should win, the maps where you can rush, for example. That's why I choose to go for that Adrax on that map. So it was my decision to force like a weird game. I feel like that was the right choice, because the Koreans don't really have much experience against me, and they play against Maru, they play late game against Maru or other Terrans. The other Terrans play so clean, so I decided to just bring a little bit of, let's say, fire and yeah, more aggressive, cheesy play. Yeah, I mean, in the end, I lost that game. I couldn't really transition into Ghost properly. I feel like that game I didn't play very well. I had a lot of advantages, but in the end, my unit composition wasn't good enough, and he microed way better than I did.
Well, speaking about the next game that was on Berlingrad, as we were watching, I mean, even as Rotterdam was casting, it felt like it was gonna be yours, a GG at any single point, and then we slowly saw that Solar was able to bring it back. I mean, what was going through your head at that moment, and how do you recover? Because I think when a game slips away from you when it was in your hands, it's a lot harder to mentally recover.
Yeah, I mean, what I like to do is then switch it up completely. I created such a mess in all of the games because of weird playstyles, and then I was like thinking to myself, okay, I mean, let's the last map is 2000 atmospheres. Let's just play like a straight up game. It's an alright map. I think it's the best one to play, like a 3cc straight up game. And yeah, I think based on what I did before, I wasn't really too upset about losing that 4th game. It gave me an advantage, because he was probably a little bit confused about like what I was gonna do and stuff.
Well, we saw your amazing TVZ in this, and now moving forward to the semifinal, you have Rainer waiting in front of you. And as we were watching that last map, when Rainer was still playing, I remember I asked you, I was like, hey, between Dark and Rainer, who do you prefer? And you said, oh, I prefer Rainer. Well, you got your wish. You got Rainer. So now that he is your next opponent, what are your expectations there?
I mean, both are going to be difficult, but I like to play against Rainer because I know him very well, much more than I know Dark, especially because I feel like Dark was an opponent. I played him once, but basically that felt like the hardest ZVT I've ever played. So I didn't really want to play Dark again. He's a very scary man. Rainer, on the other hand, it's always fun to play against him, and I know his playstyle. He also knows my like weird gate pushes like I did against Solar. So that I might not be able to pull off the same against him. We'll have to think about it, but yeah, I generally just feel more comfortable, especially with that much on the line against someone like Rainer.
Well, if it's anything like the TVZ prowess that you just showed us, it's bound to be an amazing semifinal match. So for now, congratulations, Big Gabe. He is now down to the top 4 here in the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice.